Hello and welcome everybody. My name is KevTV and today we got our week 6 team builder against the Charging Charizards. Roll the intro. As I just said, our battle this week is against Julan and the Charging Charizards, and he is currently number 1 in our division, and he's also in the top 10 of the whole UGA, so this week will be a really tough battle. And I know he's a phenomenal player. He also just qualified for top 16 of Players Cup 2. He has very in-depth good knowledge about the game and is capable of analyzing game situations and so on. I'm not, so basically my win condition this week is to have better preparation than him, and I hope I do. I put quite some effort into the preps of this week, and I think I came up with something, with a team which could have me winning. Regardless of the outcome of this match, I'm looking forward to it very much, and I'm super excited to battle him this weekend. So let's see and have a look at his team. As for Pokemon that I expect Julan to bring, first of all we have Primarina. Primarina is an excellent water fairy type, and that of course is a strong counter to my Colossal. It can also do some big damage to other Pokemon that I have, for example Hitmontop or Crawdont and so on. So this is a very likely pick this week, I would say, and it's also one of the Pokemon he brought to most of his matches. I think he brought it 9 times by now. So it's pretty likely to be in his team. Same as with Noivern. Noivern is one of the Pokemon he brought the most. He himself says Noivern is one of his MVPs, and I think this week Noivern can do a lot for him as well. Noivern helps him against Serena, against Corviknight, against Pinsir potentially, even against Drampa because of Draco Meteor and so on. There's a lot that Noivern can do. Noivern can help him with speed control and so on. So it can taunt my Dusclops to prevent Trick Room. There's just a ton of opportunities with Noivern, and I think that it's one of the 3 Pokemon he is going to bring for sure this week. Next to Noivern, he often led with Meowstic Male, and Meowstic Male is fantastic as well because it of course gets the Prankster ability, has super nice support moves, Thunder Wave, Reflect, Light Screen, and so on and so on. He often brought stuff like Rain Dance or Sunny Day. I can see him bring this week again, especially with Rain Dance, for example, because of my Colossal. That would be a decent strategy. Glauber and Devon actually brought this, and it worked quite well for them, so it might also be in his idea pool. Of course, he won't be able to bring super offensive Prankster status moves because of my Serena. He always has to be careful that I don't swap in Serena or lead with Serena, and then he does not have the opportunity to just fire a Thunder Wave at my Colossal Tone 1 or whatever. This is something that he has to take in regard and has to account for, but I still think Meowstic Male is very likely to be in his team. It was in almost every game for him so far, and I think it's definitely coming through this week. And I also think it will be in most of the games that we play this week. So Meowstic, definitely one of the 3 Pokemon I expect to see. As for the likely Pokemon, we do have quite a bunch, almost the rest of his team. Trevenant is fantastic against my Gastrodon, and I bet he's bringing it because Colossal Sneasel is my main mode, and if he wants to get rid of Gastrodon reliably, then he needs the Trevenant. So this is definitely one of the Pokemon he has to bring. Could also bring Charizard with Max Overgrowth. But since Gastrodon can also deal with Zard, I think Trevenant will be there as extra backup. Then we have Excadrill, which is pretty strong against my Colossal. Luckily, he does not have a very good way to bring up Sand, because this allows me to actually not contest speed against Sandrush Excadrill, but just regular Excadrill. Which is really good for me, because against a Sandrush Excadrill I would have a very bad time. Other than Colossal, it's also able to hurt Boltund and Sneasel. Yeah, so this is probably something he would also consider this week, and something that I think is not too unlikely to happen. He didn't bring it too often yet, but I think it's a good option for him this week. Then we have Manectric. Manectric, I mainly see Manectric as likely because Boltund is in my team, and I might be bringing Boltund this week. Nuzzle and Thunderfang and stuff like Volt Switch, all these great electric type moves, also Eerie Impulse, I think, would be all drawn into the Lightning Rod of Manectric this week. So if he brings it, I could not bring Boltund, and I think Boltund wouldn't be too bad this week because of Primarina, Noivern, and Charizard. So this is basically something that I also think could happen pretty likely. I do have the feeling he brings the Charizard because although it's kind of losing hard to Colossal, it can do a lot against Hitmontop, Gastrodon, not Gastrodon, yeah, also Gastrodon with Max Overgrowth, to be honest, but Corviknight, Serena, Crawdont, Pinsir, and it's just too good to not bring, also with the residual damage from G-Max Wildfire, so I think this is going to come through. Then we have Crustle. Crustle is a Pokemon that he has to bring a very specific set on, which is Weak Armor Weakness Policy, but in week 3 he showed how capable his Crustle can be, and actually Crustle after... Crustle easily outspeeds the Colossal after 2 to 3 hits, and this means it could easily KO my Colossal, and I think he traded it out for week 7 and onwards, so I think it might not be the unlikeliest that he gives Crustle another shot this week. Urshifu is just a very strong Pokemon overall. I should not neglect that option, and I think he could bring it, although I don't see it fit as well into his team this week, but it could definitely come through. It's a possibility, and it's always likely to come through because it has some nice moves. It of course has Wicked Blow, which always crits and thus ignores any attack drops, and would be a good option for him to deal with my Dusclops, for example. So I don't think it's too unlikely. Then we have Piloswine and Blissey, and I don't think that either of the two would come through. Piloswine could do some work against Colossal, it could do some work against Serena, but overall I don't think... I just think he has better options to deal with my Pokemons this week than Piloswine. And Blissey, it's super bulky, it's super tanky in a special sense, but it has 10 defense, and I just don't see it coming through this week, to be honest. Maybe there's some moves I didn't see when I scrolled through the list, but it didn't look too scary, and there's stuff that's more likely to come through. For myself, I see 3 must-brings this week, and they are once again Gastrodon, Colossal, and Sneasel as my core. I think this is more or less self-explanatory by now. Gastrodon this week is running a rather defensive set. It has a lot of HP and defense, special defense investment. I'm running Sassy Nature, so I can live all the special attackers a bit better. I'm also running the Rindo Berry because this actually allows me to live a max overgrowth, and also potentially a Woodhammer depending on his investment of Trevenant. So if it is not a super offensive Trevenant, then I have a good chance of living a Woodhammer, which is quite nice. Protect and Recover to stall and bulk out some turns. Ice Beam is mainly there to cover for Trevenant and Noivern, of course. Then we have Scald, which covers for Trussell, Excadrill, and Zard. That should be a quite decent option. It also has the chance to burn the target, which is quite nice because he has a lot of physical attackers this week. Then we have Colossal. Colossal is my Gigantamax Pokemon, and this week I'm running a very different set. Colossal is actually a physical attacker for me this week, and I figured this might be something that is going to surprise him. And this surprise might actually be game-changing for me, because I always run Special Colossal, and Special Colossal is the better Colossal overall in my opinion. But this week, because a lot of his Pokemon are physically weak, I think it could be a good option. I run the 3 moves: Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, and Explosion, which is quite funny. But maybe we'll get to use Explosion. That would be super funny. And Protect, of course. Steam Engine Weakness Policy, I don't have to say anything about this. But Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, they are interesting because Flare Blitz does a lot against Trevenant, against Excadrill, Piloswine potentially, and also a lot of the Pokemon that don't resist the fire type moves. I think even against Crustle, oh no, Crustle doesn't resist fire, so that's, yeah, but even against Crustle it did like 99%, so that's a very strong move, and has a strong max move, of course, as well. Rock Slide is phenomenal because it also gives me the chance to flinch, and it also deals a lot of damage against Noivern, against Zard, against Crustle. I think also against Piloswine, I'm not 100% sure on that though. But this is actually a quite decent move, and with the Rockfall and the investment that I have, I didn't need super offensive investment, so I only have 236 attack EVs this week. But this is still enough to one-hit KO Primarina if I'm +2. And that's actually quite decent, because with special investment I wouldn't get anywhere near this. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm running a physical Colossal this week, because it actually gets to deal with Primarina quite well. Way better than the special version would ever do. And I don't think he's going to expect a physical Colossal. So physical Colossal will be doing quite some good work and damage this week. And even if I'm not +2, I still do about 60-65%. So that's actually incredible. And then, of course, I do have the Explosion, which is kind of a last resort. If there's no other way out, I could just White Guard and Explosion, or Protect Explosion, of course. Or maybe I have Dusclops in the field and can do Explosion, and that would just straight out destroy 2 of his Pokemon for sure. At +2, it OHKOs most of his mons. So I think this is not too unlikely to happen this week, to be honest. Yeah, and overall I just think that this physical Colossal is a good surprise this week and might be an interesting tech to play around with. If I have a chance of winning, then this definitely adds and stacks up my win chance. So let's see. Next up we have Sneasel. Sneasel is running quite the standard set: Fake Out, Icicle Crash, Surf, and Taunt. Fake Out, self-explanatory. Icicle Crash covers for Noivern and Trevenant and the likes. I have Taunt because of Meowstic. Could actually be quite useful, and also because then I get to deny a Protect or whatever on some of his Pokemon, or other shenanigans that he might have. As for speed, I only plan to outspeed his Meowstic. No, it's not Meowstic, it was something different that gets 105 base speed actually. I think it might have been Manectric. So something in his team gets 105 base speed, which adds up to 172, and with 173 I can speed creep that one. So this is why I have only 180 investment, and the rest goes into special defense just because he's got a lot of special attackers. or the special attackers are likely to lead against my Sneasel. But overall, I also, since I have the Sash, I don't really care about defensive investment too much. And yeah, I just want to outspeed, and then the rest of the EVs can go anywhere, really. Then we have Hitmontop. Hitmontop is a super great option as well this week, I think, because, as I said earlier, he has a lot of physical attackers. Hitmontop has Intimidate. There's not too much he could do against Intimidate. He could slap an Adrenaline Orb on some of his Pokemon, but I don't really see what this would do for him, except maybe Piloswine. But I think Piloswine would rather want the Eviolite on it. So yeah, Hitmontop quite a good option for me this week. Brought the Cobra Berry because Zard and Noivern actually can run some strong flying type moves that would not do too good against, that would do really good against Hitmontop, and the Cobra Berry kind of mitigates the damage here. Then we have the Fake Out for obvious reasons. Brick Break and Rock Slide. Rock Slide gives me the extra chance of flinching on Hitmontop, which is nice, and it actually deals quite a lot of damage against Zard. I think it was about 80% or so if it's not Gigantamaxed. And Brick Break because of potential screens from Meowstic. Also, Brick Break against Urshifu is quite helpful as well. So I really want to have that, and it also deals with Excadrill better thanks to this. Then we have White Guard because I think there's quite some moves on his side this week that could be hitting into both. Primarina has Hyper Voice. I think it also has Muddy Water access, but I'm not 100% sure about this. I don't think it would run Muddy Water. But Zard could run Heat Wave. Russell could run Rock Slide, Earthquake and Rock Slide on Excadrill, and so on. So White Guard is not too shabby this week, I would say. The investment is pretty, yeah, more or less standard. I think I EV'd a bit into special so I could survive some more attacks of Noivern and Zard. And then the defense investment, I didn't need that too much because there aren't too, so it just didn't pay off in the end. And I saw the the special type attackers as more relevant and threatening this week, which is why I focused on that. And I still get to live a high horsepower from Excadrill. With more investment, I would still be a 2-hit KO, so that didn't matter too much. Then we have Boltund, and I really thought a lot about Boltund, but decided not to bring it this week, mainly because of Excadrill and Manectric. I saw them shutting my Boltund down in most scenarios, so I said, okay, Boltund is a very good option this week, but unfortunately, thanks to Manectric and Excadrill, I should rather not bring it. However, it would have some nice possibilities with Eerie Impulse, Charm, and stuff like that, which I already showed in previous weeks, but you know, it's not an option this week, unfortunately. Then we've got Dusclops. Dusclops is pretty good because it allows me to play Trick Room, and Trick Room could be a very good option this week. So most of his Pokemon are faster than mine, which means generally I'm off well in Trick Room, and then he also has Tailwind. And Trick Room is one of the main options I have against Tailwind. So I could lead, for example, Hitmontop, Dusclops, Fake Out Noivern or Meowstic or whatever he leads, and then get Trick Room up. If he leads Noivern, I probably have to Fake Out the Noivern because that is the only taunt user he has, and I do want to get the Trick Room up. So this is a phenomenal Pokemon for me this week. It also has Frisk, which will warn me about weird stuff that he might bring. And then I also get Bulldoze, mainly for Colossal Weakness Policy, Nightshade, pretty standard, and Will-O-Wisp because of the physical attackers. The EV investment is pretty defensive because I want to live a hit from Urshifu. If I don't live a hit from Urshifu, then I'm in a bad spot. But yeah, this EV spread should allow me to do so while also still maintaining a good bulk against special type attackers. Then we have Corviknight. Corviknight would have been great. However, Noivern and Zard just destroy it. Other than that, I would have really loved to bring Corviknight because I get ground type resistance, I get to scare off Trevenant, I get to scare off Primarina more or less, I get to scare off Urshifu. There's a lot I can do with Corviknight. However, Zard and Noivern simply rip it apart, and I couldn't find a good opportunity or good way to fit it in my team this week. Serena, however, fits in really well because it gets access to deal with Primarina. And although my Colossal can deal with Prim this week, I did not want to rely solely on it. I still think that Serena is my main opportunity to deal with Prim, and Serena also is my main opportunity against Meowstic, of course. Which is why I have Queenly Majesty. White Lens I brought because I don't want to miss any attacks due to RNG. Power Whip for Prim, of course. Play Rough coverage for Urshifu. I expect him to bring a Roselli Berry, but still that would do a good chunk of damage. And Triple XL for Noivern and Trevenant. Last but not least, we have Protect, simply to stall out some turns. And then as for the EV spread, I invested as much in speed as was necessary to outspeed max speed Primarina. I don't think max speed Primarina is too likely to come through, to be honest. I think he would rather invest in bulk and so on. But just in case he invests speed into Prim, I want to outspeed Prim, because if I don't outspeed Primarina, it might KO me before, because my defense with Serena is not too great actually. Then we have Crawdont, which I thought about a lot as well. Crawdont would be phenomenal because it actually shuts down Trussel really easily. It shuts down the Charizard easily. It can shut down Trevenant with thanks to its Dark type. Can deal with anything basically except for Prim, Trevenant if Trev moves faster, and Manectric. So those are the main threats that I had on my opponent's team. And they are actually enough, especially because it would give me a very hard weakness against Serena, and this is something I can't use this week. I really need to focus on getting Serena out, because I think Serena is one of the biggest threats I will face this week, so Crawdont was a no-go for me this week. However, it would have been a very good option without Primarina. As for not so good options for me, I think Pinsir and Drampa wouldn't put in as much work as the others could this week. Pinsir doesn't have any really favorable typing matchups this week, to be honest, and it loses against Noivern, against Zard, and so on. So I didn't want to bring it. And Drampa, I already said earlier that it hard loses to Noivern, it hard loses to a lot of other Pokemon you could bring. So yeah, this wasn't the best option. So basically Urshifu could still deal well with it, Piloswine could, Prim could, not too much Drampa could do. Which is why I decided not to bring it. That's my team builder for this week. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments of this video down below. Leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And more importantly, if you haven't subscribed to Julen yet, check him out. I link his channel in a YouTube card above me right now, and I also link it in the description of this video down below. He is a phenomenal battler and he has very good knowledge about the game, so if you want to learn more about Pokemon, definitely give his channel a visit. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.